Today's show is brought to you by a former guest, Helix TCS, one of the largest publicly traded non-plant touching cannabis companies in the world, trading on the OTC under ticker symbol HLIX. Their portfolio of industry-leading technology, compliance, and security companies is designed to scale internationally to capitalize on the inevitable proliferation of legal cannabis without the risk and limitations of being a cannabis producer. Record Q2 earnings, driven by their market share leading seed-to-sale tracking software, has positioned Helix TCS as one of the most exciting ancillary companies in the cannabis industry. To learn more about Helix TCS, trading under ticker HLIX, go to helixtcs.com or listen to Raising Cannabis Capital, episode 96.
Large CPG companies, cosmetics companies, food and beverage, key pharmaceutical companies, and then surprisingly, a lot of the big cannabis companies as well who are announcing big U.S. CBD initiatives. A lot of those groups have not invested heavily in the U.S. CBD supply chain like we have, so are coming to groups like us who can provide them scale and reliability.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. I'm Dan Humiston, and on today's show, how this team of experienced financial and agricultural entrepreneurs are applying their technology and expertise to produce and supply the industry with high-quality organic CBD. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we are joined by Patrick Horsman from Integrated CBD. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, Integrated CBD is one of the largest vertically integrated CBD oil and isolate production facilities in the country. You provide CBD oil and isolate to companies, and then they add it to their products. I'd like to start there. I think it's important to talk about your products because they're all organic, which is, I know it's great, but you've taken it one step further. You have a partnership or joint venture with Verified Organic. Can you tell us why that's important?
So Verified Organic is a blockchain platform. It's enterprise software, not a crypto or token. And it allows organic producers of various crops, including hemp and cannabis, to record all the applications and inputs when they're growing, and then track the product through transportation and processing, and basically prove to their end customers that it actually meets the USDA organic standards and other standards like CGMP and ISO, et cetera, in their facilities. So this allows us basically to prove and provide full transparency and provenance to our wholesale customers, and then they can provide that same data and transparency to their retail customers through a batch-specific QR. So Some big company that wanted to say they do a skin cream, they could put that QR on the product, and then the consumer could scan the QR and see literally what genetic we planted in the field, the date we planted it, what fertilizers we used, what organic pesticides we used, and then everyone that touched it throughout the entire supply chain.
Wow. I think that's going to be really necessary as CBD starts to be integrated into all the things that we eat. You have 10,000 acres, which are growing 3,000 this harvest. That's going to be a big harvest. 3,000 acres?
It is, and we've staged our planting so that we're not harvesting all at once. And then we've got some very sophisticated drying technology that can dry about 60,000 pounds per day, and that's all on site.
Yeah, I read on your website this is solid state radio frequency drying facility. I mean, that to me sounds like a game changer. How does that work?
So it's some very sophisticated technology out of Israel. It's been used in the nutraceutical industry to dry other types of biomass for vitamins and supplements. And basically the way it works, rather than using field drying or hang drying, we can't dry 3,000 acres in a barn. And field drying, you can lose a lot of the crop because it's kind of brittle as it gets dry. So neither of those are great solutions. And the other main solution in the industry was kind of gas ovens with convection type heat where you're heating the crop up to 300 degrees. That has the issue of kind of singeing the outside and not drying it consistently and uniformly. Mm-hmm. Where this RF, basically it's a solid state RF wave at very specific frequencies, and it dries the crop at a very low temperature, less than 100 degrees. So you're not losing lipids and terpenes to evaporation. And then it dries it very consistently throughout the entire crop, so you don't have like a crispy outside and a wet center, like where you can have mold and contaminant issues. So we're really excited about it.
Well, it sounds to me like all the decisions that you're making are for scaling. Like everyone else, you feel that although right now the CBD retailers are kind of unknown small companies, it's changing. And mainstream companies, the companies that we all know of, are starting to add CBD to their existing products and their new products. And they'll be looking for reliable sources just to keep up with their CBD demand. I know you're taking orders for your fall harvest. Are you starting to hear from some of these well-known brands?
We are, through some of our existing relationships and then some of our investment bankers that have been helping us finance the company. They've put us in front of a lot of C-suite, large CPG companies, cosmetics companies, food and beverage, key pharmaceutical companies, and then surprisingly, a lot of the big cannabis companies as well who are announcing big U.S. CBD initiatives. A lot of those groups have not invested heavily in the U.S. CBD supply chain like we have, so are coming to groups like us who can provide them scale and reliability.
I think that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. You just mentioned your leadership team, and I'm on your website looking. I mean, this is like a who's who on finance and agricultural pedigree. Have you worked with these guys before?
Yeah, so the core group of founders are actually partners of mine in a predecessor business, and really the genesis for this business, a business called Integrated Ag, which is a private equity fund that invests in agriculture from a water rights and water infrastructure perspective. And over the last 6 years, we've developed about 20,000 acres of farmland, mostly in the Southwest, Arizona and California, with a focus on converting land to organic and kind of taking things up the value chain. And this specific farm that we're using for integrated CBD is a property we developed in Yuma. We bought the land in 2016, came from 100 different parcels of land, most of it from off-market sellers. So we aggregated that land bank together. It was basically raw desert at that time, but it had very good water resources underneath. So we drilled 55 deep water wells down to about 1,800 feet. We connected those all together to move water around the farm. And then we put in Israeli drip irrigation technology, which is the most sophisticated and efficient form of irrigation, where you're basically watering the plant at the root ball rather than above the surface, where you lose a lot of water to evaporation. We put 100 million linear feet of drip tape under this property. So it's one of the largest drip irrigated farms in the country, and then certified all the land organic.
I want to take a quick break to thank you for listening to today's show and to invite you to check out all of our other cannabis podcasts. As the industry's #1 cannabis podcast network, we are constantly adding new shows. So go to MJBulls.com to see our new shows and to become part of the Cannabis Podcast Network. So 3,000 acres right now are planted, moving up to 10,000 acres. What's next for you guys?
Basically continuing to scale the operation. We've been developing with our in-house engineering team and actually the largest engineering and design firm in the world, our extraction facility. We've got a 154,000 square foot building in Phoenix and are building out our phase one of that facility, which will have 7.5 tons of daily processing capacity to process hemp biomass. And then our second phase, which will come online in Q3 of next year, we're building very, very large scale, and that will have 100 tons per day of hemp processing capacity. So we're very excited to bring that on, and we've kind of matched that processing capacity with the output of the farm. So this year on the 3,000 acres, we're expecting 6 to 7 million pounds of the dry weight biomass. And then next year on the full 10,000 acres over multiple growing cycles over the entire year, we think we can probably do 3 crops a year using some autoflower varieties as well as photosensitive varieties. We should produce 40 to 50 million pounds. That processing facility, while very large, kind of matches up with the capability that our land can actually produce. And everything on the farm is done organically and tracked and traced with the verified organic platform. And then even in our extraction facility, we want to maintain that organic status. So we're using pure organic alcohol as the actual solvent to do the extraction. So even our extraction process is using organic inputs.
You know, I think you just got everyone's attention. If they haven't already, we're not already perked up. That is a big, big number. Is there going to be any opportunity for investors to participate in your growth?
Yeah, I can't talk too much about investment opportunities because this is a public forum, but for accredited investors, we are raising capital over the next couple of quarters and are represented by some large investment banks that are helping us.
Okay. We'll have all of Integrated CBD's contact information and all Patrick's contact information, and I'm sure you can reach out to him if you're interested in learning more about investment opportunities. And also, if you're interested in looking for a reliable supplier for organic CBD, check out Integrated CBD. Patrick, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show. Good luck with this.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for listening to Raising Cannabis Capital. To learn more about today's guest or to become a guest, visit our website at MJBulls.com. Today's show was produced by MJ Bulls Media, with original music produced in part by Jamie Humiston. I'm Dan Humiston, and you've been listening to the Raising Cannabis Capital podcast.